Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today I wanted to take the time to continue along with our little Future of SoD series that we have going here and really dive into what a future phase 8, 9, and 10 would look like. It honestly can go on forever, but 8, 9, and 10 sounds good enough to me. But given yesterday's success with the TBC and just the general where's the future of SoD headed, I figured I would follow it up and really explain my thoughts so you guys can see the full picture that I have in my head, at least, for what we could possibly see. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So, with Phase 8, that's pretty much on lock. We assume that we are going to be getting a Scarlet Enclave. Technically, they haven't even announced Phase 8 is confirmed in any way. We just, have seen what we've gotten with Kaghoe and Crypts, as well as Naxxramas, and Scarlet Enclave is really, truly looking like it is going to be that raid, and we're going to get a Phase 8. Now, this could be wrong, and it could go down to a 7.5. It could be just a little bit of extra gear. We truly don't know what that is, but I genuinely hope it is a Phase 8. It'll be the first phase that'll just have one raid as well, because we have seen them do from Molten Core. We have seen it was paired with Onyxia, Azurgos, Kha'Zix. Phase 5 was BWL and ZG at the same time, which was a little crazy. Then we had Phase 6 being AQ, which had AQ 40 and 20. And then we have Phase 7, which has had Naxxramas as the 20-man raid, and then we have Kaghoe and Crypts as a 5-man dungeon, but a very hard 5-man dungeon that is also very, very rewarding at the same time, which is really good to see. So that begs the question of Phase 8, and if it is just Scarlet Enclave, is that all we're getting? It'll be very interesting to see that, and if it is worthy of a full new tier set, or if it's just really good Sanctified gear, like Sanctified off pieces, options, choices, things you can use for other raid that is equivalent of tier 3, or like it could even just be tier 3 without the without the undead portion that everyone hates. It could be something like that, like you purify it or corrupt it or something, I don't know, but it just depends on the way Scarlet Enclave goes. But after Scarlet Enclave, I think that is for sure Phase 8, but after that, that is where the future becomes wide open, and we really get to see what direction they want to take Season of Discovery. This is the two paths that are before us, so it maybe just goes to Phase 8, it ends, and we're stuck at Scarlet Enclave and Nax for the rest of ever until the server eventually dies, like we see with Classic Era servers. It'll obviously have its loyal people still playing the game and enjoying it, but it will eventually die out like all servers do. This is the worst reality. I do not want this at all. This is why I would rather see TBC with some slight twists and changes, just to have something to do and continue the SoD experience and continue to go while Classic Plus gets ready. Then we have the opposite side of it truly becoming a Classic Plus beta test, and we see actual new content. We go into Phase 9, Phase 10, and that is where the possibilities are endless. So Classic WoW was actually released as not a complete game. There are so many storylines, so many things that ended, and a lot of them actually aren't even explored until we get to Cataclysm. So a few zones that could have ideas explored in them in Classic and still be great would be something like Mount Hyjal. You can even go to Mount Hyjal. It is a completed zone in Classic WoW. It is just not it's not fully, there's nothing there. There's no mobs, but the zone itself is very, very clear. There's even the World Tree with Archimonde's skull on it that you see in the Battle for Hyjal raid in Caverns of Time. So Hyjal is there. You can even climb up the mountain if you really want to and go over there and run around. The World Warper takes you there. Hyjal would be a great place for like a PvP zone, or populate it with something, and you could tell a few stories there. The next one is all the way down here at the bottom of the map, Tenaris. As you can see, Uldum is just a little gate where you can go through. Well, without pretty much just taking the Cataclysm zone and putting it in there, I think you could just have this gate lead to an instance, and you can have a battle for Uldum or a raid for Uldum and fight Watchers or something like that. or, you know, whatever you wanted to make us fight. But it's just a really cool gateway that you could definitely take and add to and go into and go through and do something with. I don't really know how to make it a new zone without adding it. They pretty much have to base it off of somewhere that is just their constraints that Blizzard is under. So without just pretty much putting the Cataclysm Ultim in, I'm not too sure what you could do other than making it an instance of some kind, whether it's a raid, a dungeon, just, you know, exploring the ruins of Uldum, similar to Karazhan Crypts, would be pretty cool, and something like that. Another storyline that gets explored, and it is explored even more in Season of Discovery, is the Emerald Dream. So we could get an Emerald Dream raid. Obviously, we have the 4 portals, one here in Ashenvale. We have the one in Feralis right here. Then we also have Duskwood and Hinterlands for all of the 4 portals of the Emerald Dream. While I thought incursions were awful for the game, I did think it was really amazing to go into them and actually see the Emerald Dragon assets be utilized and them actually create something really, really dope with those. And you go into the Emerald Dream, you see those cool things take place, and I thought that was awesome for them to actually take the time to use those and see what we could accomplish with that. Then another thing that they could do is going over to Eastern Kingdoms. Obviously, we have Grim Batol right here. It gets used in Cataclysm, but it could be used here for a dungeon or an instance or anything. It is there. The mountain is there. The gate is just shut. So it could be something that they could play into. Obviously, Twilight Highlands right here. This little continent over here becomes Twilight Highlands. A lot of the Eastern Kingdoms is actually quite unfinished. I'm not exactly sure what we could do with Twilight Highlands. Once again, short of just copying the Catazone. But, you know, that's where the creative devs come in handy. Then we have 2 that aren't actually in the game yet, but they could take on very, very awesome stories. So this would actually take a lot of development, and it would kind of break away from what we know as the story of World of Warcraft. That would be Gilneas and Quel'Thalas. So Gilneas here, when you're playing an undead, you do a ton with the Worgens at the Sepulture, and you do a lot with Briarwood Village. If you follow those quest lines, you go into Shadowfang Keep, you fight them, and then that storyline just kind of dies off. The gates to Gilneas is there, you just can't go in it, like it is locked off. I'm not sure if Gilneas is developed in any way. I've swam around it, and this border is there. Like, I've gone from Hillsbrad to Silverpine Forest, and the border is there, but it's never really developed, and there isn't anything added to it. It is just a border and with really high mountains. So it would be really cool to see them play around with that, take a classic thing, finish the Argyle story, see Worgens be like the big bad evils instead of actually joining the Alliance. And if you're worried about canon and lore and how to explain it, you can just straight up say this is an alternate reality. Warlords of Draenor did that for us. I was playing in some Dragonflight, and they do a really good job of running around, and you like go to alternate timelines with alternate things where like there's worlds where like a Grand Alliance takes over and it's only Alliance, no Horde. And you fight just Alliance humans and stuff like that. And like there's a Murloc universe where everyone's a Murloc. And I think those universes are really cool and just fun, small things. They don't have to be grand like Warlords of Draenor was in a whole story. You can literally just say, oh, SoD is an alternate timeline. There you go. Then you can play around and mess with any of these ideas to the fullest extent. Then the final one that we want to talk about is going to be Quel'Thalas. While this gets added in the Burning Crusade, it has such a great story. It kind of just falls off at Naxx, and you don't really hear any more about the Lich King. Hoping the Scarlet Enclave in Phase 8 dives more into this. We get to purify the Ashbringer and some really cool stuff along those lines. But it kind of just simply ends, and Quel'Thalas is here. We could see us expand into the Ghostlands, do ZA, maybe have an alternate Blood Elf storyline where we fight Blood Elves that are evil and they don't join the Horde, similar to Worgens not joining the Alliance. It would be a really cool story just to play out, see more of that, more of a a Warcraft 3-esque Blood Elves and Silver Moon in that area instead of them just joining us. I really love Silver Moon as a city. It looks so beautiful and classic, and it gives the Horde some pretty aesthetics other than just nature and Taurens. That's pretty. Other than that, you don't really have much on the Horde. So I'm a big fan of the Blood Elf areas, and I think it'd be really cool to see them take a different approach to that. And the biggest thing is that all of this is what a Classic Plus to me would be like. We take the balancing and the class stuff that we have from SoD, and we put it into a Classic Plus-esque type thing, where we see people, you can play every class, every spec, and that is something that has been lost in Classic. People go straight to the meta. They only play metagaming now, so like it's just mages and warriors that we see in Classic WoW. You see this problem in Anniversary quite heavily, and SoD is beautiful for the way that it allows pretty much every class and spec to be viable, to be played, to be brought to a raid, and be able to accomplish the job. Obviously, there will always be a meta. I'm not saying there won't be, but there's a big difference between straight up griefing the raid to play some specs, like a balanced druid is a great example. A shadow priest, also a great example of just DPS specs that are just simply not good. And they've already solved the problem. If we look at TBC, a ton more classes and specs become viable. A lot of the hybrid ones become playable. So the balancing side of things isn't too hard. But I would love to see that, as well as expand on these storylines in a classic game, not all the way till Cataclysm, where the game is completely different and it starts to feel more retail-esque as the further you go. So that would be my dream of a Classic Plus. And with them announcing Anniversary and moving Anniversary up, and then having a Anniversary going confirmed to TBC in 1 year, that tells me we are at least a year or two out from a true Classic Plus, if we even get one at all. And I know that sucks, and I know a lot of people want Classic Plus and are looking forward to that idea, but I really hope that we continue SoD and we either go to TPC or we see these new content S. But the more we go towards new content in SoD, the more I worry that it does not go to a Classic Plus. And that's a little weird, but I think if we get more and more and more and we expand on those ideas, we don't see that. And that's why I was such an advocate for a SoD TBC personally, with a twist, of course. And I suggested a few twists. I don't actually know how great they would work. I just think it would be fun to try. So anyway, those are my thoughts in expanding upon my ideas here, just so you guys see the full picture that I am attempting to paint. But anyway, as always, I would love to hear what you have to say. Please definitely comment down below. I do read them all. I do engage, and I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on what you think a Phase 8, 9, and 10 would look like. But until next time, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.